Commander Sarah Chen stood at the helm of the EDS Sentinel, Earth's most advanced deep space monitoring station, when the signal changed everything. The usual background noise of space, the cosmic whispers her crew had spent years studying, suddenly gave way to something deliberate, structured, alien. "Commander, you need to see this." Lieutenant Park's voice carried an edge she'd never heard before. "The signal. It's not random. It's a message." Sarah moved swiftly to the communication station, her zero-gravity training evident in her fluid movements. The holographic display showed a pattern unlike anything they'd documented before, a repeating sequence that defied natural explanation. "It's being broadcast on multiple frequencies," Park continued, his fingers dancing across the haptic interface. "And it's getting stronger." The message, when they finally decoded it, was both simple and terrifying. "To any who can hear, the Void Hunters come. They consume all. We are the Asteri, guardians of the galactic core. Our defenses fail. If any civilization receives this, please help. We cannot hold them back alone." The next 48 hours became a blur of emergency meetings, encrypted transmissions, and rapidly evolving first contact protocols. The United Earth Defense Council convened in record time, and Sarah found herself presenting the evidence to humanity's highest military and civilian authorities. "The signal's authenticity is confirmed," she reported, standing before the assembled leaders in Geneva. "The Asteri are real, and they're fighting for survival against an enemy that threatens the entire galaxy." Admiral James Torres, the grizzled veteran who'd led Earth's first Mars campaign, leaned forward. "And why should we risk human lives for an alien civilization we've never met?" Sarah activated a holographic projection of the signal analysis. "Because, Admiral, the Void Hunters aren't just their problem. Based on the trajectory data embedded in the Asteri message, if they fall, Earth is in the path of this invasion. We don't have the luxury of waiting." The decision, when it came, was unanimous. Humanity would answer the call. The next month saw the largest mobilization in human history. The Earth Defense Force's newest ships, originally designed for solar system defense, were rapidly retrofitted for deep space combat. Sarah, given her experience with the original signal, was assigned to command the EDS Hyperion, the flagship of humanity's first interstellar battle group. Her crew was handpicked from every corner of Earth, the best pilots, engineers, and tactical officers humanity had to offer. Among them was Dr. Marcus Wong, whose groundbreaking work in quantum physics had revolutionized human shield technology. The Asteri message contained coordinates, Marcus explained during their first strategy session. "They're at the edge of what we thought was possible for our current drive technology. We'll be pushing the limits of everything we've built." Sarah studied the star charts, noting the vast distance they would need to cover. "How long until the Void Hunters reach Earth if we do nothing?" "Based on their current trajectory, 2 years, maybe less. But by then, they'll have absorbed the Asteri's technology. We wouldn't stand a chance." The launch day arrived with little ceremony. There wasn't time for it. As the Hyperion led its battle group out of Earth orbit, Sarah recorded one final message to be broadcast to all of humanity. "We go into the unknown not just to save ourselves, but to answer a call that speaks to the very core of who we are. Humanity has always faced impossible odds. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day, and we didn't just survive. We thrived. Now we'll show the galaxy what the children of Earth can do." As the ships engaged their quantum drives, stretching space itself to cross the vast distances, Sarah couldn't help but think about the irony. Humanity had spent centuries looking for intelligent life among the stars, hoping for peaceful first contact. Instead, their entrance onto the galactic stage would be as warriors, racing to save a civilization they'd never met from an enemy they didn't yet understand. But that was humanity's story, wasn't it? Facing the impossible, defying the odds, and somehow finding a way to triumph. As the Earth grew smaller behind them, Sarah made a silent promise. They would not fail. The Void Hunters were about to learn why Earth was classified as a death world and why its people were the most dangerous survivors in the galaxy. The battle for survival was about to begin. First contact with the Asteri was nothing like the simulations. The EDS Hyperion emerged from quantum space to find a civilization of energy beings, their crystalline ships glowing with internal light that pulsed like heartbeats. But the beauty of their fleet was marred by obvious battle damage. Scorched hulls and fractured crystal spires told the story of desperate battles. The Asteri flagship, the Luminous Dawn, dwarfed the human vessels. Its surface rippled with colors that Sarah realized were actually words, their language written in light itself. As they watched, the patterns shifted into English. "Welcome, children of Earth. We had almost lost hope." The Asteri themselves were even more remarkable than their ships. When their leader, First Light, materialized aboard the Hyperion, the bridge crew witnessed a being made of pure energy, its form barely contained within a crystalline framework. "Your journey here defies our understanding," First Light communicated, its form shifting through spectrums of light. "Your ships use technology we thought impossible for organic beings to survive." Dr. Wong stepped forward, his expression a mix of awe and professional interest. "We evolved under conditions that most species would consider lethal. High gravity, constant radiation, extreme temperature variations. It made us adaptable." The Asteri leader's light dimmed momentarily, their equivalent of stunned silence. Then perhaps the ancient prophecies were right. In our darkest hour, warriors from the death world would arise. The briefing that followed revealed the true nature of their enemy. The Void Hunters weren't just another species. They were living shadows, entities that consumed energy in all its forms. They had emerged from the spaces between galaxies, drawn by the light of civilization itself. "They adapt to every defense we create," First Light explained, projecting images of previous battles. "Our weapons become useless within hours of first use. Our strongest shields fail. They learn, they evolve, and they never stop." Sarah watched the tactical displays with growing concern. The Void Hunters' ships were organic, almost viral in nature, spreading and multiplying through infected space. But something caught her attention, a pattern in their movements. "They're avoiding certain energy frequencies," she noted, pointing to gaps in their attack formations. "Why?" First Light's form brightened with interest. "We never noticed. Our sensors are attuned to different patterns. Your organic perspective sees things we miss." That became the first of many revelations. The humans, with their death world adaptations and different way of thinking, began finding weaknesses in the enemy that the Asteri had overlooked. Dr. Wong's team discovered that the Void Hunters were vulnerable to specific radiation frequencies, the very kind Earth life had evolved to resist. The human ships, designed to protect their crews from the harshness of space, proved remarkably effective against the shadow entities. Where Asteri shields failed, the multi-layered defenses of Earth vessels held firm. "Your very biology is a weapon," First Light observed as they prepared for their first joint operation. "Your ships carry trace elements that disrupt their feeding patterns. Your technology, designed to survive a death world, naturally resists their corruption." The first battle proved their theories correct. The combined fleet engaged a Void Hunter attack force, and for the first time in the war, the shadows retreated. Human weapons, modified to emit radiation that mimicked Earth's Van Allen belts, tore through their defenses. Asteri energy beams, recalibrated to frequencies discovered by human analysis, prevented their usual adaptation tactics. But victory came with revelations that chilled Sarah to her core. As the Void Hunters fled, their ships left behind traces of their communication, quantum echoes that Dr. Wong's team managed to decode. "They're scared of us," he reported, studying the data. "Not the Asteri, us specifically. They've never encountered anything like humans before. We're toxic to them. Our very existence disrupts their fundamental nature." Sarah stared out at the battlefield, watching Asteri ships repair their crystal hulls, while human crews conducted radiation sweeps. "Good," she said firmly. "Let them be afraid. They wanted to hunt the galaxy. Well, now they've met the apex predators of a death world. Let's show them what that really means." The war was far from over, but for the first time since the Void Hunters emerged, hope burned brighter than fear. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or victims, but as protectors, turning their harsh evolution into a shield for gentler civilizations. The real question was, how would the Void Hunters adapt to face the species that had mastered death itself? Dr. Marcus Wong's laboratory aboard the Hyperion had transformed into a fusion of human and Asteri technology. Crystalline computers interfaced with quantum processors, while energy matrices pulsed through radiation-hardened circuits. The impossible was becoming routine. "The Void Hunters are changing their tactics," he reported to Commander Chen, highlighting combat footage from recent encounters. "They're no longer avoiding our radiation fields. They're learning to endure them." Sarah studied the data with a grim expression. The enemy ships now sported organic armor that mimicked Earth's magnetic field patterns. "How long until our current weapons become ineffective?" "Days, maybe hours. But that's not what worries me." Marcus brought up a new display showing energy readings from the latest battle. "They're not just adapting. They're incorporating our strengths. The last wave of attacks used modified versions of our own shield frequencies." The Asteri liaison, Second Dawn, materialized in the lab, its light form dimming with concern. "We have observed similar patterns. The Void Hunters now resist frequencies that once disrupted their feeding patterns. They evolve faster than ever before." But humanity's greatest strength had always been innovation under pressure. The research teams worked around the clock, human intuition combining with Asteri knowledge to forge new weapons and defenses. They developed quantum crystalline hybrid shields that could rapidly shift frequencies, making adaptation nearly impossible. Earth's radiation-resistant materials were integrated into Asteri energy weapons, creating beams that carried the deadly signature of 1,000 nuclear winters. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. During a routine analysis of Void Hunter communication patterns, Sarah noticed something odd. "These quantum echoes," she pointed out to Marcus. "They're not just signals. They're connected somehow, like neurons in a brain." Marcus expanded the data, his eyes widening as patterns emerged. "It's not a network," he breathed. "It's a single consciousness. The ships, the weapons, the adaptations, they're all extensions of one entity." The revelation changed everything. The Void Hunters weren't a species or an army. They were fragments of a vast, ancient intelligence that had existed in the void between galaxies. Each ship was like a cell in an enormous organism, learning and evolving as part of a greater whole. That's why they adapt so quickly. Second Dawn's form pulsed with excitement. When one part learns, all parts learn. But this also means they have a core, Sarah finished, a central consciousness. Find that, and we might be able to end this war in one strike. The hunt for the Void Hunters' neural center became their primary mission. Human ships, designed to survive the harshest conditions in space, pushed deeper into enemy territory than the Asteri had ever managed. They tracked quantum signatures through regions of space where light itself seemed to die. But the enemy was aware of their search. Attacks increased in frequency and ferocity. Void Hunter ships began mimicking human battle tactics, turning humanity's own strategies against them. Several Earth vessels were lost, their crews fighting to the last moment to protect their discoveries. The combined fleet fell back to the Asteri home system, bringing with them crucial data bought with blood and sacrifice. In the secure war room of the Hyperion, Sarah and her team analyzed their findings. "The neural center is here," she indicated a region of unusually dense quantum activity, hidden in a pocket of subspace where normal physics barely functions. "No wonder we couldn't find it before. It exists partly outside our reality." A direct assault would be suicide, Marcus warned. The concentration of Void Hunter forces around that location is unprecedented, And even if we reached it, our weapons might not work in that twisted space. Sarah's expression hardened as she studied the tactical display. Then we don't play by their rules. We've spent months learning how they think, how they adapt. Time to show them how unpredictable humans can really be. As they prepared their desperate gambit, Sarah recorded a message to be sent to Earth. "We found their heart. Now we're going to show these shadows why humans are the monsters that other species tell stories about. The hunters are about to become the hunted." The final battle was approaching, and with it the ultimate test of humanity's greatest weapons: innovation, determination, and the unconquerable spirit forged in the crucible of a death world. The Void Hunters struck without warning. Thousands of shadow ships emerged simultaneously across 12 systems, their attacks coordinated with terrifying precision. The Asteri's outer colonies fell within hours, their crystalline cities shattering under waves of darkness. The EDS Hyperion shuddered as another volley of void energy struck its shields. Hull integrity at 60%, the AI reported calmly. Radiation shielding holding but degrading. Sarah gripped her command chair as the ship performed another evasive maneuver. Status of the Asteri fleet. The luminous dawn has lost 3 of its crystal spires, Marcus reported from his station. 5 other capital ships are critically damaged. They're adapting to our countermeasures faster than ever. Through the tactical display, Sarah watched as the enemy forces demonstrated an uncanny grasp of human battle tactics. Void Hunter ships now moved with the unpredictability that had once been humanity's advantage, their formations shifting like smoke in the wind. They're not just copying us anymore, Sarah realized. They're improving on our strategies, learning from every engagement. A new alert blared through the command center. The quantum sensors Dr. Wong had designed were detecting massive energy fluctuations. The void between stars seemed to ripple as something massive began to emerge. "By all that's holy," Second Dawn's voice wavered. "They're bringing their neural center into normal space." The sensor displays lit up with readings that defied comprehension. A construct larger than a gas giant materialized before the combined fleet, its surface a writhing mass of shadow stuff that absorbed all light. Tendrils of darkness extended outward, connecting to every Void Hunter ship like synapses in a vast neural network. "Now we know why they changed tactics," Marcus said grimly. "They're not just hunting anymore. They're preparing to consume everything." The neural center's presence warped the fabric of space itself. Ship systems began failing as reality buckled under the strain. 3 human vessels imploded when their radiation shielding collapsed, their crews having barely enough time to transmit final sensor readings. "We've lost contact with the Asteri homeworld," communications reported. "The quantum fluctuations are disrupting all long-range signals." Sarah watched as more ships fell, their defenses crumbling before the overwhelming assault. The combined fleet, once humanity's proud answer to an alien call for help, was being systematically torn apart. But in that moment of apparent defeat, Dr. Wong made a discovery that would change everything. Analyzing the data from the destroyed ships, he found a pattern in the chaos. The neural center isn't just controlling them, he explained rapidly, his hands flying over the controls. It's become dependent on them. Every ship it creates, every adaptation it makes, it has to maintain them all simultaneously. There's a limit to even its processing power. Sarah understood immediately. It's not just showing us its strength, it's showing us its weakness. She opened a channel to all surviving ships. "This is Commander Chen. Fall back to Rally Point Delta. Prepare for Protocol Omega." As the battered fleet retreated, Sarah shared her plan with the remaining commanders. It was dangerous, possibly suicidal, but it played to humanity's greatest strength, the ability to do the unexpected, the impossible. "They think they've learned everything about how we fight," she told her crew. "Time to show them how humans really wage war. When we have nothing left to lose, when defeat seems certain, that's when we're most dangerous." The Void Hunters pursued the retreating fleet, confident in their victory. They had adapted to every weapon, learned every tactic, and brought overwhelming force to bear. But they had yet to learn humanity's most important lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous enemy is one that seems beaten. As they prepared for their final gambit, Sarah sent one last message to Earth. If we don't return, remember this: we didn't just fight for humanity. We fought for every species that looks to the stars with hope instead of fear. And we're about to show the galaxy why Earth breeds the greatest survivors in existence. The final battle began with a paradox. While the main fleet appeared to retreat in disarray, the Hyperion and a small strike force of hybrid ships executed a quantum jump that should have been impossible, directly into the gravity well of a dying star. Hull temperature critical, the ship's AI warned as solar plasma washed over their shields, radiation levels exceeding design parameters. Hold position, Sarah commanded. The bridge crew, protected by emergency environment suits, monitored their systems with grim determination. Begin broadcast on all frequencies. The Hyperion's quantum transmitters activated, broadcasting a signal that rippled across space-time itself. The message wasn't complex, just sensor data from their battles, tactical analyses, and combat recordings. But they transmitted everything, overwhelming the quantum frequencies with a flood of information. The effect on the Void Hunters was immediate. Their neural center, programmed to analyze and adapt to all new data, began processing the massive influx of information. Thousands of ships paused as their central consciousness struggled to incorporate the sudden surge of tactical data. Second phase, Sarah ordered. The Asteri fleet, led by the restored luminous dawn, emerged from hiding behind the star's corona. Their crystalline ships, reconfigured with human radiation shielding, unleashed concentrated beams of solar plasma channeled through quantum crystalline matrices. The Void Hunters tried to adapt, but their neural center was already overwhelmed. As it attempted to process the flood of battle data, it couldn't maintain control over its entire network. Ships began losing cohesion, their shadow matter dissipating as the connection to their central consciousness wavered. Dr. Wang's voice cut through the chaos. The neural center is attempting to redistribute its processing load. It's exactly what we predicted. It can't maintain all its adaptations simultaneously. Sarah activated the fleet-wide channel. All ships, execute Protocol Omega. Hit them with everything, every frequency, every weapon pattern we've ever used. Don't give their adaptation algorithms time to focus. The combined fleet unleashed an assault unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships fired radiation beams modulated to mimic Earth's harshest environments. Asteri vessels projected crystalline energy fields that twisted the very fabric of space. Each ship used different frequencies, different attack patterns, forcing the Void Hunters to adapt to thousands of threats simultaneously. The neural center surface began to fracture as it failed to maintain control over its vast network. Shadow ships dissolved into quantum static, their adapted defenses falling apart as the central consciousness lost its grip on the improvements it had copied. It's working. Second Dawn's light form pulsed with fierce joy. The Hunters cannot maintain their stolen knowledge. But victory required one final sacrifice. The Hyperion's engines were already critical from the stellar radiation, its hull barely holding together. Sarah knew what had to be done. All hands, abandon ship, she ordered, remaining at her station. Dr. Wang, initiate the quantum core overload. Let's show them what happens when you push humans too far. As the crew evacuated to nearby vessels, the Hyperion's quantum drive began an unstable cascade. The ship drove straight toward the neural center, its systems pumping out contradictory data patterns that further overwhelmed the enemy's processing capabilities. The explosion, when it came, rippled through both normal space and the quantum realm. The Hyperion's drive detonation created a feedback loop in the neural center's consciousness, shattering its ability to maintain coherence across dimensions. The entity that had threatened the galaxy for so long finally discovered the fatal flaw in its strategy. It had learned to copy humanity's strengths, but failed to understand that humans' greatest power wasn't in their weapons or tactics. It was their willingness to sacrifice everything, to defy impossible odds, to change the rules when the game seemed lost. The shadow that had haunted the galaxy dissolved into quantum noise, its vast network of ships evaporating without the central consciousness to maintain them. In the aftermath, as rescue ships collected survivors and the Asteri began rebuilding their shattered worlds, humanity had earned more than victory. They had earned their place among the stars. First Light, addressing the combined fleet after the battle, expressed what many felt. We called for help expecting warriors. Instead, we found something far greater, a species that turns adversity into strength, that faces the impossible with innovation and courage. The galaxy will remember this day not just as the end of the Void Hunters, but as the beginning of a new era. One where the children of Earth stand ready to protect all who look to the stars with hope. Sarah Chen survived, rescued from the Hyperion's wreckage at the last possible moment by Marcus Wong's emergency quantum teleport. As she recovered in the Asteri Medical Bay, watching the combined fleet begin its journey home, she reflected on humanity's first true test among the stars. They had come as saviors and proved themselves worthy of the role. The galaxy would never again question why Earth was classified as a death world. They had shown that the harshness that forged humanity had created not monsters, but guardians, protectors who could face the darkness and triumph.